I'm Katie.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
Small Town Music.
We are two small town music teachers looking to help other small town music teachers.
So whether it's managing your day-to-day or advocating for your program, we're here to help.
Like and subscribe and follow along on our journey. Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Small Town Music, summer edition for us. Hopefully for you as you're listening, watching, doing all the things with this. So, today we are talking about what college didn't teach me, deciding concert rep versus contest rep. So if I'm doing a contest versus like our band, hometown spring concert or whatever, why does that look different, and how do we figure all that out?
How do you decide? Yeah, I remember being in college and, for choir folks, I don't know how it works for band exactly, but, we have like reading session packets. It's a thing, that you go to like a conference or something and the publishers send out these big packets of music for music teachers to read through and all that. And they would kind of give college departments, they would give our department like the leftover reading packets. And so we would go through these in class and they would make a big deal about making sure you pick quality literature. And I remember asking at one point, well, how do you know what's quality literature? And they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. Like, well, it's just stuff that's good.
It's just good.
And I'm like, oh, thanks guys. So that's been something to learn. And so hopefully we can help you with that.
Yeah. So I remember one of my professors, now he was primarily elementary music. So he was talking in terms of like folk songs that we were singing throughout the week with our elementary classes. But he did say if he would sing the song 3 times in a class period, and he had 5 classes, and so that's 15 times a week. Yeah, sorry, it's summertime. I can't do math. So 15 times a week, or 20 something times a week by the time he got through all the lessons. And if
times however many weeks you're doing that song.
Yeah, times however many weeks you're doing that song. So if he could get through the end of using that song and he still enjoyed it and wanted to sing it, then he knew that was a pretty good song. And I've kind of taken that in the band world too, that like if I listen to the recording of it and I am not bored or mad at it and want to like skip to the next song in the first like 20 seconds, then I probably am okay with doing that song. If I'm not like, ugh, then like, yeah, whether it's like our next marching band pet band tune or our next contest piece, like if I listen to it and I think, yeah, I want to listen to that again, because you are going to have to spend theoretically 3 months of class time working on this just about every single day. So it's going to need to be something that you can handle as well as students.
Yeah, and I think I know it's annoying to say, but it's one of those things that just comes with time and experience, that as you listen, you're able to hear those things that are going to be easy for your students, things that are going to be hard, and things that are going to be really enriching for them. And hopefully you can find those in the same piece of music, things that are both entertaining and that will be great to teach with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I every year I think I over program, which that can be a whole other episode. Mark that down. But I know that I get really excited about the music, and I think, man, my kids are really going to like this. And they probably would if I had a slightly different ensemble. But yeah, so the biggest thing, whether it's a concert or a contest, is just knowing who your audience is, because even contest to contest is going to be different. Our state music association contest is going to be different from Kings Island Music in the Parks. Mm-hmm. Is going to be different from Orlando Fest, is going to be different from, everything else that we do. So just kind of knowing your audience. And even every single concert I do, it's just a different audience. So our first concert is typically the town festival. So that's a very different type of music than the music department Christmas concert, and also very different from the spring concert.
Right. And I mean, hey, this is small town music. So, I mean, I'll just say it, like, being in a small town, a lot of people that when they're listening to music that we sing or that you play, they want to hear fun music, the ones that they know, the ones they've heard before. They want to be entertained, you know, and even if it is our concert, you know, I have found you find a lot more response from your audience on those fun pieces. Now, we've talked before about, you know, you got to have the meat with you got to have your meat and your vegetables along with your candy. But you got to consider that you can't just do contest pieces at your spring concert and then expect that your students and your families and your parents are going to respond really well to that. They just might not. Now, hey, maybe you can train them to. If so, let me know.
Right. Yeah, come and be a guest on our podcast and tell us.
We would love to know. But I think it's natural that people respond to the music that they know and that they love, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, knowing your audience, and it's also great because it gives your kids a variety of music that they get to work on. I think the best musicians are ones that can be really versatile. And so we can teach our kids to be really great at performing pop pieces and really great at performing those more what's the word? What am I missing here? The art pieces.
Yeah, they're really thoughtful.
The deep, the creative, the soulful pieces that we would do for contest that maybe aren't toe tappers.
The cerebral pieces.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So just as an example, for my spring concert I just did a couple of weeks ago, my high school band, we did Pulsation by Richard Saucedo, which is a super fun piece. It's really good if you want to get your kids used to that 4/4 6/8, because every other measure is 4/4 and 6/8. It just bounces back and forth the whole time. It's a really hard piece, especially with percussion. So it's a good percussion feature. It's a good rhythm piece when you're teaching rhythm and time signature changes. And then I ended up kind of doing an arrangement of On a Hymn Song of Philip Bliss by Holsinger. Band classic. If you don't know it, now you do. Go look it up. It's one of my favorites. Just the story behind it, all of it. It's a beautiful piece of music to play. But that is a like vegetables, nutrient rich piece of music for your band, because the shaping, the phrasing, the blending, it's a slow piece. So getting your students to play a ballad, and also just the whole piece. There's a lot of exposed parts. There's like a brass choir feature in the middle. It's a lot. And then we did right after On a Hymn Song of Philip Bliss, we did Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, and then Paint It Black.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. And she had a 6th grader on electric guitar.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was so fun to see them get together, and the kids obviously loved it. The parents obviously loved it.
It was a big hit. That won me some brownie points, I think. It was fun to put together. Like, it's fun when everyone, like, music is fun also. Like, yes, I want to teach them notes and rhythms and composers and genres, and I want them to be able to go to college and be successful as musicians when they're taking college level classes. I want them to do all these things, but I also want them to remember that, like, at its core, music is super fun.
Right, because I think it also would have been a sad disservice if your entire concert was
just a pet band
hits from the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Though, I mean,
no one would have complained, let's be honest.
Yeah, I know. But I would have known that it would have been sad.
But yeah, variety. I that was one of my most fun concerts I put together, especially with that particular group, because I knew they could play all their parts, but also we just had a lot of fun playing the music.
Yeah. Same thing. I guess to be kind of specific with some pieces that I've been successful with for contests, and we actually did this last year. I did with my high school ensemble an SSA arrangement of The Seal Lullaby by Eric Whitacre. And I know most of Whitaker's pieces my choirs would never be able to perform. So if you're out there as someone who loves Whitacre, but you're like, oh, my small ensemble of 9 students could never, we did. We did Seal Lullaby. They learned it on solfege. I was so proud of them. And they sang it beautifully. The phrasing and the harmonies. It was a beautiful piece for them to really grow as musicians, both their ears and their literacy. And another piece that we just did that was also a lot of fun, but is a little more on the contest side, is Ad Astra by Narvarud. Last name is Narvarud, Jacob Narvarud, and it's a beautiful piece. There's a 2-part arrangement and a 3-part mixed, and so I've done both of them. It's really accessible. It sounds really impressive, but it's really easy to put on. And then on kind of the pop side of things, we just did a 2-part of Here Comes the Sun, the Beatles hit, but it's arranged by the Pod Brothers, and it's just beautiful, and it's really sweet. It's really easy to put together. But again, it's kind of it's a song that your audience is going to know. The kids know it. The kids love it. It's really sweet, but it makes for a nice concert piece, not necessarily a contest piece.
Right. And I have done a lot of different things for my spring concert. I used to try to do like a theme for my spring concert. Like each piece of music was kind of a theme. And that worked pretty well, and that was fun, but also a little nerve-wracking to put together because everything has to fit into that theme. But I think that's why I like our spring concert so much, is because we have so much freedom. Like we kind of have some freedom with the holiday Christmas concert, but also that's very specifically holiday Christmas, and I get tired of like, okay, we're doing Carol of the Bells again, I guess. Oh, okay, like we'll pull out the funny elf boom buckets whatever piece, you know. But yeah, the spring concert for me, I don't know, just a side note, I enjoy it because I get total freedom. Like there's no holiday, there's no like town expectation necessarily. Like I'm not being judged on a specific required list. Like it's just me and my program and what we did. So moving on to contest. For our state music association, there are required lists that you have to pick at least one piece.
At least here in Indiana. If you're in a different state, your state music association probably has their own rules, and you'll just have to check that out.
I believe in general, at least on the band side, the formula is some kind of like overture-esque opener piece. So something along the lines of Novena by James Swearingen. That's a really solid piece. One of my favorites personally. But yeah, some kind of like something overture, Novena, something with contrasting tempos, styles. You have a lyrical, it probably has a flute solo or a trumpet solo. Some kind of instrument feature in the middle, that kind of thing. Starts slow, goes fast, goes slow, goes fast, and the ballad in the middle. So hymn song on Philip Bliss for the middle piece, or something nice and slow, and then a march at the end. So you know, the Thunderer by Sousa, or some arrangement of the Sousa March at the end. So that's any contest performance I have done, whether it's our state ISMA, Indiana State School Music Association contest, or even Festival in the Parks, I have followed that formula.
So, kind of the same thing with on the choir side. It depends on which group you're in, whether you have a required or suggested list. And so if you have to pick something off the list, you do. What I've been doing, I don't know, small town hack, I guess, is that since my choir is so small and I'm not always confident that we're able to prepare multiple pieces that are like contest ready, is I've been taking them to solo and ensemble contest, and we just enter as an ensemble, as a large ensemble. Anything in Indiana, anything up to 20 singers can do that. And so that's been
there's something similar for on the instrument side. It's the same deal, a large ensemble, but it's woodwind only, brass only, percussion only.
And so that way they still get the opportunity to go and perform for a judge, to get some feedback, to get a rating, but we only have to perform one piece. You perform like in a classroom, so it's a lot smaller, less pressure.
It's like the kids' parents and you, maybe.
Yeah. If the kids' parents like decide to come, or if the kids maybe told them they had to stay out in the hall, because I have so many kids that are like, yeah, Mom, no, thanks for driving me, but you have to wait out in the hall while I sing. And I let them have that choice. That's up to them. But that's always been a great way for me to kind of work my way in. And same thing, at least in Indiana, if you go group 1, so if you want the opportunity to go on to state, then yes, you have to choose off of this required list. But if you don't, then if you go group 2 or below, you can really pick any piece that you think is appropriate for your ensemble, which is a great way to kind of work your way into that contest realm, if that's new or if you're nervous about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great thing to do, especially, my ensemble next year is going to look a little different in a good way, but this year it was just weird. So I had kids who kind of learned new instruments to play at solo ensemble, which we might not do that again. And that's okay. Lesson learned, and you move on. So I, as a newer teacher, I would look through just the required list. I go group 3 or group 4. I have never taken my ensemble higher than group 3 personally. I can talk more about that in another episode. But in Indiana, you have group 4 through 1 for the high school side of contests. So group 4 being the lowest, group 1 being the highest. So I go group 3 or 4. If I do contest again, we will absolutely be going group 4 to start to get my kids used to it. And that is a great way to just start looking through that music, look through those pieces, and look through, listen, look at the scores, kind of think through the kids you have, the strengths and weaknesses that you have. If you just don't even know where to start with music, even for any concert, it doesn't have to be a contest concert, but if you're like, I don't even know like where to find music, go off of that list. Or if you go on YouTube and search like Hal Leonard group 2 or grade 2 concert band music, or whatever grade you want, there are like lists upon playlists of videos, and I'll just have that on in the background, and when I hear a piece that I'm like, oh, I like that, I think like that piques my interest, that sounds interesting, then I try to write it down, or I add it to a playlist, or I mark that in some way. If you don't know, for concert band, it is difficulty based on like grade 0.5 all the way up to grade 6. Grade 6 being like top tier college Marine band, highest level. Grade 0.5 being like your beginning band, middle school band is going to play it. So I live in the grade 2 to maybe 3 if we're lucky range personally. If you have a slightly more advanced ensemble, you might be in the grade 4. I personally don't have friends that are directors that do grade 5 that I know of currently, but I don't know, maybe someday.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier, so it's summer now, and maybe you're the person who is like, I want to get everything planned right now, so I am ready to go. I have all of my music copied and ready for day 1 for the entire school year. I have been you.
Yes.
I have been you in the past.
I think every year I say that to myself.
So I was at a conference, this is probably about a year or so ago. Mr. Dan Anderson, I will give him credit for this. He's wonderful,
fantastic.
Wonderful choral educator here in Indiana.
If you're a band director, you should also go watch him or go to a session, because he's a fantastic educator.
Just an amazing human, and he can make anything fantastic, especially for middle school kids. But that's beside the point. But I was at a conference with him, and he was talking about his plan. And even with all the knowledge that he has of years and years of music, he still, every year, spends his summer just listening to music. Listening to the new music that comes out, listening to old music that he has. And he just kind of keeps a spreadsheet of new songs that he likes, and he writes down, things like the key and the tempo, and what voicings are available in the choir world. Like, is it 2-part? Is it unison? Is it 3-part mixed? SATB, whatever, TTBB, essay, however. So he writes whatever's available for him. And then he does not officially pick any music. He does not order any music until about the second week of school, because he spends his first week of school voice testing every single one of his students. Because especially if you're teaching middle school, you may have taught those kids in May, and their voices may be completely different by August. And so you get to know your singers, you see who you have, what kind of voices you're working with, and then you go back and you look at that spreadsheet and you say, okay, let's get our music ordered, and then you get started.
Weirdly, in band we have the same problem, but it's because kids don't practice, so their muscles just atrophy. Yeah. So trumpets that used to play above the staff now only play in the staff. Weird.
Or they just forgot all of the fingerings to everything.
But
or you had new kids come in, or surprise.
Yeah, there's so many.
You would now have 4 trumpets and only 1 flute. I don't know. Whatever. Or
vice versa. Yeah.
Or vice versa. However, so knowing
kids move around.
Exactly who is going to be in your ensemble. So why go to all this work and spend all the money of ordering music?
The money I've spent ordering pieces
that then sit in your library, and you think maybe someday I'll do those.
Yeah. So I like to. We were just talking before this that I like to have. I have a bookshelf in my office that I have my like scores that are in use, that because kids always lose their music, so I have to copy more, and it's just handy and at the ready. But I also have the piles of scores that are like things that I think we could potentially do, or that would be good. Like, oh, if I do go to contest, I would really like to do this particular piece because I think my kids can handle it, and I think it would be good. But it's that same idea. Like, I don't have a full spreadsheet yet, maybe someday, but I do have piles in like 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade, high school, of like the music that would be great to do, that I would like to do.
Yeah, I have piles, but they're nothing nearly so organized as all that. I think it's also where it comes down to in another episode, perhaps, of having a really well organized music library.
I gotta write those down.
Right. And having a well-organized music library, because now that I have most of my music library well-organized into a spreadsheet, the ability to say, oh, you know what? Yeah, sure. Maybe a couple of years ago I was doing SATB, but now I need to figure out what SSA music do I have in my library, because I can't afford to buy an entire year's worth of music in new voicings for my now ensemble. So being able to go through and really quickly search and find out what pieces do I have is really helpful. So if you haven't started that project in your job, in your current position, it's a time consumer. I may be still working on it 18 years later, but it's worth it. It's worth your time to know what music you have.
Yes, the director before me, bless her, she created a fantastic music library spreadsheet and organized it. So I am able to go and search, and I look things up. Unfortunately, there's a lot of music that we have that's pretty old. It's still good music, but I've kind of gotten to the point that, like, if I can't find a recording of it, I usually don't try very hard to do it, because I need to know what I'm getting into, especially when it's like I don't have a recording and it's a good dense score. Those are 2 kind of major things that I'm like, nope.
Well, I mean, how, as a choir director, I at least have the ability to sit down at the piano and play through. I can play the piano part and I can sing through each part. But I mean, not a band director, but I have no idea how you would even begin to know, like, what's this even supposed to sound like?
So if my college professors are listening, please, I don't know, fast forward through this part. But in college, we were told to never listen to the recording first, and to write down the chords for all of it. And I can, like, I look through it and I can, like, visualize it in my head, kind of like, okay, the flutes come in, and then we have this, and I can pick things out pretty quickly, like, oh, that has a major trumpet feature. Nope, not going to do that. Oh, that has like a fantastic clarinet part. Oh, great. I have a clarinet player that absolutely can and should play that. And that has come with just like knowing my ensembles and knowing my students. But yeah, like,
I mean, I get it, like, not playing that for your students. Like, I don't necessarily want my I want my students
I don't play
to,
the recording
kind
for
of
my
discover
kids.
it on their own. But yeah, no, like, I ain't got time for that. Yeah. I ain't got time to like score study every potential piece
in the real world. Yeah. Even like before I had kids, I didn't have time for that. Like that. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, after you've picked your piece, please do your score study on it. Figure out all the teaching moments and figure out all the things that you can like milk for your kids and things that you might need to like push a little extra hard on or do a little bit of remediation for them. Please do that score study. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much music out there to listen to.
So much. Yeah. Just going back to picking our contest music, think about your goals for contest as well. I just saw this back in my notes, but some directors want to challenge their kids and to really push them to play harder music. And some kids want to get the best rating possible. And what that means, if you read between the lines a little bit, do you want to give your kids slightly harder music to push them and potentially get a lower score? Or do you want to give your kids music you know they can absolutely play well and maybe get more of a better score? And I think both sides are valid to that.
I think where you are in your journey as an educator, where your students are in their journey as musicians will feed to that. I thought it was really interesting. Just this evening, I was at a meeting and someone quoted Amy Poehler, of all people, though, who said, "You don't have to be miserable to do great things."
Yeah.
Like, what a cool quote. I mean, because how much as artists do we do that? Do we think like, oh, we must be doing the most intense and the most, cerebral things possible? It's like, can we not just enjoy what we do?
Sometimes we just need some Nirvana.
Yes.
Maybe that'll be a new t-shirt.
I love that.
Sometimes we just need some Nirvana.
I love it. It works both ways. I love it. Hey, fun fact, my battery is about ready to die, so we should wrap this up.
I was going to say, I think we're to the end.
So what else do we have for it?
It's summertime, so I'm enjoying not checking my email and not thinking about school and not having plans to go into school until like 2 weeks from now or something crazy.
I have a planning meeting for our choral festival in the morning, so I do have to go into school in the morning, but it'll be fun because I think we're going to go to Mexican afterwards and
but it's not like
have a good time.
Not like planning your real choirs.
Right.
It's different. It's different. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you so much for listening. Like, subscribe, follow, find us on Etsy. We now have an Etsy shop. Buy a t-shirt. Thank you for watching or listening or both. And we will see you next time.